Mr. President, this is the first policy address of the CE, Mrs. Carrie Lam. Overall speaking, it is comprehensive, pragmatic, and it also addresses the needs of different groups. It also addresses the aspirations of different sectors, especially in the areas of housing, supporting SMEs and the elderly. There are practical measures, and she has also delivered a lot of her promises made in the election. Let us look at the tourism industry. The administration has been asked to set up the Tourism Commission. The CE said that because of objective barriers, this cannot be set up right away, but she has agreed to set up an interdepartmental, inter-bureau working group to be headed by the Financial Secretary. We understand that in early October, an interdepartmental high-level meeting has been conducted by the FS. He says that every department should work in conjunction with other departments to look at the problems faced by the tourism industry. According to the PA, the CED Bureau immediately released the blueprint for tourism development in Hong Kong. This is the first ever issued after the reunification of Hong Kong to the mainland. It has taken on board many of our views, and it has drawn up development plans and also a timetable for the short, medium, and long terms. I hope that the administration will not just talk the talk, but really study in depth into different problems and issues so we can enhance our hospitality levels. And in developing convention and exhibition industries, Hong Kong ranks first as the MICE venue in the world. But we are facing huge competition from neighboring cities. The MICE industry has high potential for growth. It has high value addedness. It has also high innovative impacts. It can enhance the city image. It can also attract business tourists to come to Hong Kong because they are the high spending lot. In 2015-16, incentive travel and conventional travel amounted to 1.72 million people, and each spent over $8,400, which is 16% over the average tourist. So Shenzhen, Shanghai, Australia, and Singapore have positioned MICE industry as an important part of their economy. Say, for example, in Shanghai, they are now building a national venue amounting to 500,000 square meters, and also Shenzhen, another one with 300,000 square meters. But we are marking time only. In Hong Kong now, the biggest challenge is a lack of venue. In the PA, it is said that the 3 government buildings in Wan Chai North will be demolished and will be redeveloped, and it will be part of the expansion of Hong Kong CEC, and everything will be connected. And it will be the new wing to the existing Hong Kong CEC. Even if the 3 buildings would become part of the expanded Hong Kong CEC, and there would be more connected with the Hong Kong CEC, it will just add 23,000 square meters. And altogether, even with the superstructure, it will just add about 40,000 square meters to the Hong Kong CEC. Compared to what we saw about Shanghai and Shenzhen, there is still a big gap. We must lose no time in trying to catch up. Hong Kong has limited land resources. However, we still have the potential to increase MICE venues, like the Asia World Expo in the airport. There is already the reservation of land for Phase 2 development. It is expected that it can provide another 100,000 square meters of exhibition venue. Phase 1 of Asia World Expo is seeing a growth in utilization. The utilization rate is at 70% every year, and with the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge being commissioned, there will be new source markets. And combined with the Lantau development plans, the commercial area in the north of the airport is now being developed. There will be commercial area up to 200,000 square meters, and also a hotel with 700 rooms. And also on Airport Island, we already have commercial facilities, and also the 3RS will be commissioned in 2033. By then, Lantau can become the second exhibition and convention center. And phase 1 of Asia World Expo will be too small for the demand. I hope while you expand Hong Kong CEC, you should also start the feasibility study for phase 2 development of AWE. And for the long term, you should continue to look at what our competitors are doing. Let us see what measures they are taking. And you must take strategic actions. And you must not give up the possibility of identifying venues in the urban area. You must have a certain scale so that, as Mr. Edward Yao said, we can allow convention and exhibition industry to become the leading industry in Hong Kong. Mr. President, in talking about heritage and green tourism, the PA says that it will embark on tourism products that are of Hong Kong and international characteristics, including cultural, ecotourism, and also green tourism. You will also develop green destinations. You will also work with the districts in order to promote sustainable green tourism. You will also provide the right transport complement for such destinations. This is not a new measure. However, you have not put enough emphasis on it. Last year, the Hong Kong TB spent $5 million in order to have a pilot on green tourism in Hong Kong. It's not a big amount. And also, we have not seen the effect. Recently, many Hong Kong-bound tourists come to our country parks. They go to the outlying islands as well. And also in our heritage sites, you have seen them visiting these sites. But when the industry in this process has found different problems. Number one, there is a lack of infrastructure. The Hong Kong TB has spent resources on promoting special and green and ecotourism. However, if we talk about the piers, transportation, accommodation, catering, signage, you have not done your job well. Let us look at East Ping Chau and Po Toi Island. They are beautiful sites. They have villages with special characteristics, and they are actually part of the World Geo Park. However, you don't even have infrastructure providing water and electricity on the islands. If you can't even satisfy the needs of the villages there on a daily basis, there is no way to talk about receiving tourists. If tourists are taken there, no matter what, you will just create a negative image for Hong Kong, and there may also be damage done to the local ecology. I hope the administration will show some determination in making improvements. Number two, recently we have seen news reports telling us that tourists are still going up our hills hiking when the weather is so bad, and they lost their way and they were trapped. Therefore, when you promote green tourism, you must not neglect educating our tourists on safety. It also shows there is room for improvement in terms of green messages to our tourists. Now, there is no coordinated mechanism to issue safety awareness messages to tourists. They are scattered around LCSD, AFCD, and also the Hong Kong TB.
And there is no central or professional approach in disseminating the relevant information. There is no such platform. There are signages at country parks, but then they vary in terms of their quality and accuracy. So tourists are finding themselves at a loss when they visit these places. So the government must study into establishing a convenient or smart way of disseminating information. Thirdly, about illegal camping. Well, there is a homestay lodging. This is a trend, and on the mainland, people are camping in the wilderness as a form of tourism. Now, Hong Kong receives over 25 million visitors every year, and visitors have different aspirations for accommodation. Some people are operating illegal guest houses in the name of homestay lodgings. And for the campsites in Hong Kong, they have not been managed well, and some companies are organizing tours to Hong Kong and let the visitors camp on the wilderness. And this is something of concern. But then the netizens do not know about the actual situation in Hong Kong. They are easily misled into moving in these accommodation places. So there have been a lot of reports on such illegal activities, and I hope the government can enforce the law more. And in the long term, the government must come up with a more lenient policy on homestay lodgings on the countryside. There should be better management and regulation on campsites. Hong Kong has rich tourism resources in developing cultural heritage, green and creative tourism. We do have advantages, and the government has all along attached importance to artificial tourist sports. Only just last year, we approved for the expansion of Disneyland at a cost of $10.9 billion. And I hope that the government should also provide the same support to the development of green tourism, because different districts come with different situations. So we must have a targeted approach. The government must identify sports with good assets, and then the CDB should take the lead and come up with a plan and a budget, and the other policy bureaus should work together. If we don't have a bureau leading the initiative, other bureaus will be passing the buck around. So I think it's best that if CEDB can take the lead, and it can help provide, say, water, electricity, transport services, etc. in these tourist spots, and there should be dedicated policies. And you should also work more on publicity. Now, once the pilot scheme proves to be successful, then it can be extended to other districts or sports with potential. In striking a balance between conservation and promoting rural districts, we should develop high-value-added tourist sports. And promoting smart tourism, the CE says that we will develop a smart city and we will promote smart tourism. And the electronic payment will be promoted. And also there will be multifunctional smart lampposts to be built. And at tourist hotspots, Wi-Fi facilities will be improved. At the suitable attractions and border control points, travel facilitation services will be provided, such as sending messages to inbound tourist mobile phones to provide them with information in public transport. This is just a start. And I think we must catch up with the changing times in our development. We have a pool of talents, funds, and good tourist spots, and we have just established the ITB. The government must have the commitment and determination to develop Hong Kong into the smartest cities in the region. We should overturn our traditions. We should start a technology revolution in Hong Kong. A smart city is closely intertwined with smart tourism. In smart tourism, we should not just take care of visitors. Instead, we should be developing this city smartly as a whole, and we should do more. So I have these suggestions on promoting smart city. First, we should use multifunctional smart lampposts as a platform to build a smart city. Now, smart lampposts have been launched in many cities around the world. Normally, they just collect data to assess the traffic volume, assess the air quality, the rainfall volume, etc. They are mainly to collect data. If we build a screen too, then the functions can be enhanced. For example, we can disseminate information, place advertisements there. And if the lamppost should also be fitted with Wi-Fi facilities, as the public has higher demand for information these days. Undeniably, the smart lampposts will play even more functions, and they will progressively replace the traditional tourist information dissemination channels. So for these lampposts, apart from the functions that I have mentioned, they should also provide information on shopping, living, etc. The 6 components of tourism, so that timely information can be provided to tourists and citizens alike. If smart lampposts are to come in with more functions, it will not be too difficult. What matters most is whether such information is provided in a timely manner of use and etc. Maybe we can also add in further functions like guides and guided tours. Say if tourists come to Hong Kong, they can get information from the lampposts, and they can also get some, say, electronic discount coupons for shopping, so that the tourism industry can also benefit. And the information from the lampposts can also be combined with information on our smartphones to form a common data platform, so that visitors can get the most updated information in Hong Kong. So they will get the impression that Hong Kong is developing very fast in our smart tourism. My second suggestion is that the government should strengthen cooperation with enterprises and enrich people's tourist experience. The government should be bold enough to think out of the box. It should cooperate with enterprises. Amsterdam, Copenhagen, and New York may serve as good examples. The government collaboration between the government and enterprises can enhance the effectiveness, and the government can make use of the talents in the enterprises to get more innovative in its measures and enhance the service quality. And at the same time, risk can also be shared, and effectiveness can be enhanced, and collaborative projects can be more sustainable. Now, enterprises may focus on a certain area and make innovations, and they would come up with more competitive products. Recently, the AAHK, in order to save manpower, study into using robotics to deliver luggages. And they have also launched RFID luggage tags, so that passengers can check the whereabouts of the luggages before they get to the luggage area. This is the first of its kind in the world, and it provides convenience to tourists and citizens. It can also help promote Hong Kong's image as a smart city. So the government must expedite its work in developing Hong Kong into a smart city. It must use social resources and resources of the enterprises. And we can also use the INT Venture Fund. We invite experienced companies to help us out. We can make use of their advantages and to provide products with unique characteristics, so that smart tourism in Hong Kong is improved. My third suggestion is to ask the government to work together with the enterprises to establish the big data platform. In a big city, we should make use of the big data to help enhance the service quality. But then SMEs cannot collect data easily. So the government should take the lead. It should collaborate with professional bodies to establish a big data platform for use by SMEs. Young people should also be provided with more support for starting up their companies, and the tertiary industry in Hong Kong can be diversified. President, Hong Kong is a service-oriented economy. Tourism is related to other service sectors. The government has recently announced about the September retail index, and it has risen by 5.6% year-on-year. And the tourism numbers has risen by 4.8%. And in the past couple of years, if you look at the retail figures and the tourist figures, whenever tourists number dropped, the retail sales will also drop. Conversely, in the recent past few months, when tourist numbers rises, then retail volume will also rise. So tourist figures is very closely related to our retail volume. So it's not like what the government said, that the tourism takes up only 5% of GDP. The figure should be much higher because it has a rippling effect on other economic sectors. So the government should be more concerned about the development of tourism. It should understand more about SMEs' competitiveness, and provide them with timely support. I look forward that in the budget there will be even more specific measures to help support the tourism industry. So I speak in support of the motion of thanks.